It's mostly the characters that I come back to in all those games.
Gale! 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 Wake up!
I likened him to Tidus in Final Fantasy X. He wants to be this hero, but he's not, and he's the son of somebody important. It was a fun character to play. It's a shame I never got to see what happened to him, because I want to know.
I am Tim Ekabis. I played the wizard Terashond. Terashond is based off of Tella from Final Fantasy IV. He's a crazy, angry old wizard. Originally, Chad was supposed to play Terashond. Just as a matter of simplicity, they decided to make me Terashond.
I'm Terashond. I live here with my protege, Paladin.
A paladin? Holy warriors. I thought they were only in myth.
Oh, they are. He's a cowboy mage. Aren't you, Paladin?
I'm Rich Durham, and I played Paladin. Alright. That's a sad memory. He was a goddamn cowboy mage.
Cowboy mage is a valuable addition to any party.
And he was also the president of the Resistance, if I remember correctly, so he had to take a very responsible role in a ridiculous situation. In the RPG, Japanese RPG genre, I would characterize him as the brooding fellow, very much the one whose face is always covered because you never know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Through the valiant sacrifices of 3 of our best men, we have found an unguarded entrance. Here.
Isn't that the front door?
So we can make our attack here. We'll take the company airship over to Envirosafe's secluded evil islet.
Why don't we just drop it from the airship instead of using the front door?
We can.
What do you mean we can't?
Have you ever flown in an airship?
No.
Airships crash, kids. Everyone gets to where they're supposed to. No one gets seriously hurt, but they crash like the Dickens. There is no chance under the midnight sun that we are going to get there before we fall straight on our ass.
I think it's funny that we call her Hoff, not Rachel.
What's her name?
My name is Rachel Huff, and I play Dreamer.
There was no even question at that point as to the imagery of her as the RPG main character.
It was exciting. Weiss was very eager about the part. I thought it seemed like a lot of fun, and it was.
The most time was spent on her, trying to make her the typical Final Fantasy heroine.
There was actually a point where I was thinking of quitting because of the shoots, of the lack of communication, but also because I didn't like my character. I didn't like how naive she was and how I felt like that was kind of aimed at me.
Her character was very dumbed down at first. The Dreamer character was a lot of just, I guess, a horrible bastardization of how I saw females in RPGs. They would have a lot of girly dialogue and you'd want to really skip through their script. A lot of physical gags ended up being piled on her because she wasn't a very likable character, which I'm glad we changed.
I don't think so much in the third script I felt that way, but the second script was when I definitely thought about quitting.
By Odin's excessively legged horse.
My name is Liam O'Boyle and I was playing Mont Gerald, I think.
I really loved Liam's character.
I was the spoony bard character that was interested in the heroine of this piece, but she did not reciprocate the feelings. The direction was usually, be creepy, you're a stalker type person. For some reason that wasn't hard for me.
Well, I really kind of enjoyed the four-way love square of Mont Gerald and Dreamer and Gale and Toshiba.
Shiva Star Smile is a bloodthirsty monk.
But I reckon I never seen anyone fight like this Chiba.
She's conniving and manipulative. I really enjoyed her character, actually. I had a lot of background in her fighting. I did some research about Shaolin monks and studied a lot of wushu and kung fu before we ended up filming, and then it didn't even get used and I was sad.
Yeah, exactly, Gil. I wasn't gonna stand by while some femmy bonehead pushed me around, so I clawed open his jugular and kicked his head clear across the monastery.
That dumb monk! But I reckon I never seen anyone fight like this Chiba.
Yes. It's like her enemy sees an opening that isn't there. Dreamer, I must confess, I have feelings for you, but seeing you make eyes at my embittered rival just makes me want to...
So, Nominal, do you have a family somewhere? Maybe a bug-eyed professor for a mommy, or a creepy factory filled with other Nominals?
My sister coming downstairs to Steve Smith putting on a robot costume in the middle of our living room was funny.
I am Steve Smith. I played Nominal, the wisecracking, slightly evil robot. I also did, or rather attempted to do, a large portion of the costuming in the final project for Sidequest. Me and Mackie had been dating since just before Parappa, so yeah, we've been going out ever since, and as of the making of this documentary, we still had been going out. Still going strong, still living together, still making costumes for each other.
I am Mackie. I'm Steve's girlfriend, and I played the Ghost, also Nagaina.
The Ghost, which ended up being called Nagaina, was a summoned spirit.
Which is a really cool character, and I think we drew more out of Nagina as we rewrote her.
So, Vintage is our true enemy, and more powerful than we ever thought Winthrop to be.
My name is Ben Lathan, and I played Vintage. My biggest gripe was I never did find a voice for him, and we tried everything from comedians down to just British accents.
The hare's called Gale, right?
But the shopkeeper and his son was a different story altogether.
Nothing seemed to fit with the look of him, and I think part of it may have been the long black hair, if not just the wig, but just that it was hard to find a voice with a wig that I couldn't feel comfortable in. And that's not saying that there would be a wig out there that I would feel comfortable in, but...
My name is Rory O'Boyle, and I was going to be playing Riff, one of the 3 musically oriented henchmen of the villain Vintage. I also was going to be involved in a lot of the post-production and special effects.
There's a lot of music play in RPGs, so I really wanted to just go buck nuts with it. Your main henchman kind of playing off of Ozzy Flea and Slash from Chrono.
I believe specifically I wanted to play Riff, which is kind of funny because as the years dragged on and I came closer to actually playing the character, I really had no idea how to play him.
Riff was the leader. He was a mod based on the Birds. Wanker, on the other hand, was full punk. That was played by Vince Armella. Armella? Played by Vince. Whale would have been Ryan Petrie that we met in Oswego, just never got to her stuff filming. And she ended up making the dress too, which is crazy because she was never around for like 2-3 years that she was cast as the part. They were the board. They were members of the corporate board.
That's always hard to explain.
Yeah,
They're musically influenced, but they were on a board, which was like a play on Shinra. There was too many characters, which made it hard for some characters to stand out and made it really hard to get everyone together for shoots.
The locations were kind of out of the way, so we had to move 10 people, 5 to 10 people any given shoot.
It was an RPG movie, which meant there was a whole lot of characters and a whole lot of scene changes and a whole lot of plot threads.
I guess it was forcing scope onto the project by having all these characters. I was hoping it would make it feel a lot bigger.
I'll help you fight for a small fee. Are you willing to pay me?
No.
The first read-through was, it's not really a story per se, I really enjoyed the first read-through.
The read-throughs are always a blast because people are willing to laugh at anything. You know, it's like the difference between when you see stage comedy and when you see filmed comedy. There's 2 totally different feels for them. Because one, you're in the moment, you're feeding off the audience and each other who are all laughing and enjoying themselves. And on film, you're totally relying on, the actual scenario to be comedic, unless you're adding a laugh track, which might have been a good idea for Sidequest.
It's the funny thing, though, with read-throughs, because sometimes you don't... There's problems you're not going to realize until you start filming.